discrepancy between what Kathleen just described as politicians, soberly and knowingly thinking about these issues, and the average political discourse about what's happening. There's a huge discrepancy between what is really happening and how people talk about it. For example, everyone talks about a migration crisis. Well, the crisis is not really in the numbers, because 1 million people entering Europe is an important number. But if you divide it up by all the countries, and if you compare that to the 750 million people entering Europe every year, it's not that big, and it's entirely manageable. The crisis that we have at the moment in Europe is more a crisis of leadership, the incapacity of the political leadership to actually talk intelligently about these issues, because they're stuck with nationalist populist movements who have sort of dominated the debate for 30 years about migration and migrants. So that is, to me, the main difficulty. So, and this is reflected in the fact that we're talking now about this major threat of people entering Europe, when in fact intelligence services are not too concerned about that. One of the issues is the fact that Europe has left this situation in Turkey, Jordan, Lebanon fester for many years without doing anything. How would they, how could they expect that 4 million people waiting in countries of transit would just stay there when Europe was just across the Mediterranean? And they were surprised about the movement of people in the past 18 months to 2 years. But at the same time, this is only natural. This is what you and I would do if we had been waiting for that long. We would want to ensure a future for our kids. If Europe had, instead of letting these people come through smuggling rings, had organized a resettlement program, they would have selected people in the transit countries. They would have had all the security checks that they wanted to implement, and people would have arrived in an orderly fashion in Europe, and the population would have been reassured. And there's still time to do that. And most of those refugees would actually wait in line if there was a meaningful resettlement opportunity within a reasonable time. They would not use the smuggling rings. They would not, put thousands of euros on such a solution and put the lives of their kids at risk. They would wait in line, as the Indo-Chinese have waited in line 35 years ago when we organized a massive resettlement program. So it's quite extraordinary to see, to me, the discrepancy between what politicians, mainstream politicians, are able to say about the situation and how it's portrayed in most of the media outlets.
We are also talking about a time of the year now where we're getting heading into winter. It's obviously getting colder, and we're talking about a lot of people that are not in proper locations at this point. Just from a living standard, Francois, this could be very, very dangerous for a lot of these people.
Well, we've seen in the past years, we had seen that during the winter, the crossings were slowing down almost to nil. This hasn't really happened last year, and it seems that the crossings are still continuing now. So there is danger. There's danger for the crossings in winter, and there's danger for living in the outdoors if you're in a tent camp, for example, as you have several in Greece, for example. Well, it's going to get cold. It's going to be difficult. And so I think there needs to be a lot more investment by the European Union generally and its member states into the reception mechanism and into ensuring that people are properly registered, but not if that registration means for these people that they will be confined to the country they have entered, like Greece or Italy. Because in that case, these people will not want to be registered. They want to go beyond. They want to go to Germany, where they have friends or family. They want to go to the Netherlands. They want to go to Sweden, where they're sure to have a proper refugee status. If we confine them to Greece, to Italy, they will not want to be registered. So there is a whole rethinking of the process that has to be done, and I think there's a lot more investment to be done, and European countries do not seem to be ready to do that yet.
Your comments are welcome at 844-WHARTON, 844-9.